So the first step to me in living a life of purpose and fulfillment is to surrender. You have to surrender your life willingly to God. Holiness, not happiness, is the end of man. That's our purpose. I think a lot of times people were looking for happiness, and we're never going to find total 100% happiness while we're down here. It's not about being happy. It's about being submitted and being holy and in surrendering your life to God. Now, how many know He's totally, 100% faithful? Doesn't mean you won't go through hard times, because you will. But that's where that's where we learn to develop our character, is in those times. And just loyalty and faith are very similar in the sense that they don't mean anything unless they're under a test. So you have to. And if they understood that by surrendering their life to God, they would actually gain their life, like the scripture says. He who tries to save his life shall lose it, but he who gives his life for my sake shall find it. That's why it says in the scriptures, do not despise the day of small beginnings. Every great thing we're ever going to do in our life, it starts with some small beginning, some small discovery of some kind. And the place where God calls you is where your deep gladness and the world's hunger meet. We can't let the doubt of others get in the way of who we know we are. Today is as good a day as any. It doesn't matter, because there are early bloomers in life, but there are also late bloomers. There are also people that didn't really discover their thing till much later. So it's never too late. I'm telling you stories of people that are young, stories of people that are old. It doesn't matter whether we discover our gifts when we're 3 or when we're 90. It just matters that whatever we discover, we do something with it, develop it, and serve God and people, because that is the whole point. The only reason I can think a thought, the only reason I can write a word, the only reason I can play a drum is because God enabled me to play it in my DNA. And everything is a gift. Now, the part that I play a role in is what I do to develop it. God gives all of us like a dream in our heart. And I believe the minute we land on the planet, those dreams are already hidden inside of us. They're already there. And if you're really following Christ and surrendered, and you're living for His purposes, your dream is really meant to affect a bunch of other people. Your dream is never really about you. It's about what He'll do through you in the dream. And what He does through you will then affect a great number of other people whose destinies are suddenly changed because you fulfilled that dream. Our dream is to glorify God and to serve others. Because again, if it only serves us, it's not a God dream. It's just a self-made man, delusional thing. God will provide a means for you to accomplish the dream if it's really from Him. But you have to be flexible, and you have to be available to step up to the plate what that is. Right? I'd rather my life to be of substance, and to do that takes a strategy. These things don't come together by accident. They don't come together just because we're talented. They come together by a way of a plan. And you have to have a strategic plan implemented to accomplish anything. Now, you have to go through the storyboarding process of your life in order to then have a plan that you're implementing, that you're following through, because you figured out what are all these steps and stages. God gives men the ability to dream and envision. He gives all men this ability. The only difference is those who know where the source is can acknowledge it, give Him gratitude, and then serve Him with that blessing. Pursue the things that are in your heart. When you pursue the things that that God has put in there, you'll be excited about working hard. You don't have to come up with something that's never been thought of. You just have to see what can be improved. Where can that be better? I see people doing this, but it seems like it's missing that. Maybe if I add that element to this teaching or this writing or this invention or this business or whatever, it's just putting your own unique thing on it that God gives you an idea. Jim Rohn said, "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. You have no right to anything you have not pursued, for the proof of desire is in the pursuit." Even when you're not sure of yourself, you go, well, you know what? God believes in me, so He'll show me, and He'll give me He'll get me to a place where I can be confident. And faith doesn't mean anything without tests all the time. And God's going to constantly give you an opportunity to be tested, whether will you believe Him or will you believe the world? Will you believe the circumstances or will you believe Him? If Jesus let all the skeptics stop Him from fulfilling His purpose, He would have never become the Messiah, because nobody in His neighborhood believed in Him. So should it be strange to us when sometimes people don't believe in us either? We have to believe in ourselves. And the way we can believe in ourselves is because God believes in us. But then God has the ultimate plan. So sometimes He will maneuver us and bend us and move us in certain ways. And if you make yourself to where you resist that all the time, you'll never fulfill the call of God on your life, because it requires your flexibility. I had a vision of being a drummer, but I couldn't tell you exactly how it was going to happen. So I had to be very flexible in terms of, well, how's that going to unfold? What's that going to look like? The soft, pliable, malleable person learns to flow with the wind. Okay, it's kind of moving me over here, but I'm not going to let it take me down. I'm just going to bend with it. And that's really the key to succeeding in life, is to learn to be malleable in God's hands. So we don't always know, where the winds are coming from, but we do know that God's will prevail as long as we remain faithful to Him and flexible in how we deal with all these changing situations. There is little difference in people. The little difference is attitude. The big difference is whether it is positive or negative. Be. One of the hardest things in the world is to just be. To just be who you're supposed to be. Our temper. He loves us the way we are. We could then love ourselves, which would then mean we could love everybody else. We all look different because God made different cultures and different races to have different expressions of Himself. He's a creative God. I don't like to think of it as success. I like to think of it as impact, because that's what real success is. Godly success is how many people you impact. World success is how much credit do you get for stuff you maybe never even really did. But impact is really success from God's standpoint, because it's like, okay, how many people did you impact for the Lord? Because there will be a lot of people who impacted more people than the people who had more outward success. Never quit, never give up, and never, ever give up hope. You give up hope, you might as well check out. Hope is the thing that's got to keep us going. And our hope, for those of us that are believers, our hope is we put it in the Lord. Our hope and trust is in God, not in ourselves, not in the world, not in circumstances, but that God is bigger than all of this, and God will make a way for us to prosper with our life. He'll make a way for us to fulfill our calling and to make this journey adventurous.